And I went to the doctor and he goes, that typical, well, it's the medication or nothing.
Fiona, how did you find carnivore?
Well, it was quite a journey actually. It started back in 2007, or even actually before then. I was actually on the typical standard American / Australian standard diet, the SAD diet, and I was having lots of anxiety and panic attacks and just not really feeling great. And I remember there was actually one time where I thought I was actually having a heart attack and went to the hospital, got me checked out, and no, my heart was all good. They just said that they diagnosed me with anxiety and also acid reflux GERD. And the doctor put me on medication. I took the medication that night and I just felt really weird, really off. This did not feel right at all. Medication should not do that. And I remember waking up in the morning, I had this unusual spot kind of thing on my arm, and I went to the doctor and he goes, that typical, well, it's the medication or nothing. And I'd actually just had been starting to look into nutrition, and I'd heard testimonies where people actually healed their health issues through diet. So I thought, well, I'm going to see what I can do about this. And I cleaned up my diet, and I actually had heard about the Daniel fast, and people had, mentioned how they recovered a lot from the Daniel fast, which is based on Daniel 1 in the Bible, where you're just eating veggies. So I did that. And while I was doing that, it took me a few months, but I was on the Daniel diet and I was started to get better and felt a lot better. And then during that time, I kept looking and researching about diets and so forth. And I'll be honest, I got sucked into the vegan diet. Yeah, I got sucked into it for too many years. And I also was looking at the sugar-free diet by, what was her name? The Australian Sarah, something, I can't think of her name. So I went sugar-free as well. And yeah, I guess I tried many diets, but I was mainly vegan those 7 years at the same time. And I guess I was trying to find that perfect diet because I was having trouble with bloating and gas and just not feeling well. I think the anxiety kind of went away because I, cleaned up a lot of that junk food and I was eating more, natural whole foods. But yeah, I was just trying to find all different things, and I tried the raw vegan diet. I even tried the starchivore diet from Dr. McDougall. That one finished my body off. My body just spat the dummy in 2014, and it became very hypersensitive. I couldn't eat a lot of foods. Anything I ate, I'd react really severely to. And I was multiple chemical sensitivities. It was like I needed to be in a balloon. And it's like knowing now what I know about the vegan diet and, vegetables, like salicylates, histamine, oxalates. I now know, I didn't know back then, but I now know I had oxalate toxicity because, vegetarian diet's very oxalate heavy. And yeah, I was just so sick. I just didn't know what to eat. And it was like meat was the only thing that I could tolerate that felt safe. So, but I didn't know what I was doing. Every time I tried to put some plant food in my mouth, my body would just completely kick up a stink. And yet with meat, I had a little reaction, but not as bad. And I started researching more, and I came across, if I'm pronouncing her right, Agley Jacobs. She had this digestive health book where you did an elimination diet, and it was kind of like a paleo diet, and she had picked 5 veggies to be in the elimination diet. And now I know what I know about oxalates. I don't know why she picked some of these oxalate vegetables because, yeah, no wonder I was still reacting even on that. And I couldn't even though it helped me feel better, but it sort of got my life back a bit. But actually backtrack a little bit. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied here, aren't I? So backtracking here, while I was sick and not struggling to find out what to eat, I became very weak, and I found it hard to walk from the bedroom out to the, the driveway where the car was. I struggled. I couldn't even do housework or anything like that. And that's after that. Then I came across the Agley-Jacobs elimination diet, and that helped. I started to get my energy back, and I started getting liver into me because I was actually diagnosed with adrenal fatigue and lacking in iron as well. So the liver helped me get my iron levels right back up. And I was actually doing all right for a while, but then I started going back downhill again, because every time I tried to introduce something, it backfired. My body would, create a big stink. And I was still trying to struggle with these 5 veggies that she had on the list, which I think from memory was spinach, which is high oxalate, carrots, which is high oxalate. What was the other thing? I can't remember what the other ones are, because this was back in 2014, but I just wasn't doing very well. And I found out by 2015 I was starting to go back downhill again, and I was struggling to eat. And then I was like praying, Lord, what can I do? I don't know what to do. I'm going downhill, I just feel so sick and I'm so skinny. And then the next day, this was when I was on Facebook, on my news feed, on the Wheat Bellies Facebook page, was the testimony of Jo and Charlene Anderson, how she cured herself of Lyme disease. And I'm sure you've heard of her. And yeah, she, was no longer bedridden, and she was healthy and bore 2 sons. And I'm looking at the photo of this family, looking 10 years younger than their age and looking so healthy. I thought there must be something to this. And it also linked to the Zeroing In on Health Facebook page of Charles Washington, where Kelly Hogan was as well. So I joined that, and I just cleaned through all the information. I was just like, like a kid in a candy store, so to speak, just gleaning through all this information. I thought, well, my body has been yelling at me to get rid of these veggies, but I thought, you have to have your veggies. And I'm seeing all these testimonies and gathering up all the information in the group, and it's like, I got to listen to my body and ditch these last 5 veggies. And I went strict carnivore. And because I was really struggling to eat, I actually had to, what I did was I actually got a pressure cooker and got my meat and quickly pressurized it. And then I blended it so that it was easier for me to digest. And I only had to do that for about 3.5 weeks. And then I was able to advance, and I got, the lamb mince, or ground meat as they call it in America. And I was actually formed it into a patty and cooked it in some ghee. Oh, that tasted so delicious. You can imagine after having blended meat. Oh man, that was so delicious. And I still have it to this day, my lamb patties, cooked in ghee. Love it. And then after that, I thought, I'm going to try it with a steak. So I did the same with the steak. I was fine. And I was able to enjoy a lot more varieties of, like steak and lamb and chops and all sorts of things. I could only eat the beef and the lamb at first. And then after a few months, as healing took place, I was able to introduce chicken. So I thought that was good. And I needed so much meat because I was so underweight, so skinny. And it took my body probably about 15 months to actually fill out and to be a healthy, normal weight. Because, that's how long it took my body to heal and to feel really good. And that was with a lot of meat. I was probably eating about 1.5 kilos of meat. I think I was, because I was that hungry, and if I ate less, I didn't feel as good. So I had to eat. I had to nourish and feed my body to get my health back into gear, and it was so good. And actually, for quite a while, I was actually thriving. until we moved into a roadhouse on the premises, and all those smells and everything, and having multiple chemical sensitivities probably wasn't a wise move to make. And then also in the living part, in the bathroom, there was mold. So I got mold illness, which then affected my thyroid, and then everything started spiraling down from then on. And then I got depressed and everything, and didn't want to be here. I was housebound because we had to leave the roadhouse and move to where we are now. And because I was heading downhill again because of all the chemicals and, you know, the mold.
And what's the time frame about? What's the time frame around this?
That would have been, when did we move there? We moved there 2017. So for the first probably 15, 16, first 3 years I was doing well until I got the mold. So then we left there in 2018, and then I started to get my health back, but I still struggled with the multiple chemical sensitivities and being housebound and, you know, depression and all that sort of stuff. And I seemed to get stuck in my ways of just having lamb and beef and chicken. You know, I was just sort of set on this routine. I wasn't listening to my body, that it wanted a bit more variety of carnivore foods, but I was stuck. And if I tried to get an egg yolk into me, my body would react again. It was like going through that normal pattern again. And last year I emailed Kelly and I said, look, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I want to get, you know, more carnivore food, especially fats, into my body, but I have these adverse reactions. And she actually suggested CIRS, you know, chronic inflammatory response syndrome. So I looked that up, and I actually caught up with Judy with Nutritional with Judy, or whatever her name was, you know, the carnivore nutritionist, and she actually suggested the Shoemaker protocol. And I said, well, you know, that needs medication. So it's like, you know, multiple chemical sensitivities, blah, blah, blah. And she suggested neuroplasticity. So I thought, oh, I never heard of that. So I researched that, and it's where the brain, when you've had trauma or some sort of thing like that, it gets stuck in that loop, which is what I could see happening with my food sensitivity. So I joined Reorigin, and been doing neuroplasticities for about almost a year now. At the end of the month, it will be a year, and I've been able to get into myself eggs. I have them every day now. I eat a whole tin of sardines once a week. I have cod liver oil. I'm eating lamb shanks as well. I'm eating brisket. You know, I've really increased it. And because also I also went to Cultured Wellness over a year ago, or a year and a half ago almost, to get my microbiome tested, and I had no healthy gut microbiome. And I couldn't even tolerate back then, a year and a half ago, the fermented foods because of the histamine and salicylates. So thanks to Reorigin and neuroplasticity, I've been able to get the fermented foods into myself, and that's actually helped me feel better as well. So the combination of the carnivore diet, more variety, plus the fermented foods. I only have about a tablespoon of the fermented foods with my carnivore meal, and it's helping with my gut and digestive system, and I'm feeling so much better. And I'll only do fermented, low carb, low oxalate foods too. So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell my journey and how I've sort of got to where I am now.
Wow, nice. So congratulations on getting to this point. Could you talk a little bit about neuroplasticity and Reorigin and what you have to do in that process to help you get over these things?
Yeah, right. Well, with Reorigin, you can sign up for a 12-month subscription with them, which allows you access to their program and also the forum, where they're always running different things to help encourage us. And in the program, they teach you the self-based neuroplasticity techniques. Um, you can also do other forms of neuroplasticity with, specialists where they'll hook a machine onto your head and, stick the thing in your tongue, where they've helped people with who have had strokes and other thing where they've been able to learn to talk again and, reuse their limbs and stuff. But with Reorigin, it's self-guided techniques where you have to be consistent. With consistency, you're creating new loops. Sort of imagine if you've got a hill of sand and you've got a marble, and you put that marble down there and it's going to cause a groove in the sand, and each time you put that marble down, it's going to keep going down that groove. Well, it's kind of like that's what happens with our limbic system. It can become impaired if you've had some sort of trauma, food sensitivities, multiple chemical sensitivities, OCD, depression, whatever it is, and it can cause you to keep going down those thought loops where it's stuck on repeat. So you've got to create new neural pathways so that it can go a different direction, of more that's a healthier way. So you basically do incremental training with the food sensitivities or multiple chemical sensitivities, where you start slow, like for example, a bottle of perfume, you'll have it just in the room, and then the next day you might sort of bring it a little bit closer, and then sort of bring it closer, and then eventually you're doing the same with the food. You'll just sort of do the techniques first, and then you'll, maybe have the food in your hand and just sort of like, oh, nice, let the limbic system know that it's safe, even maybe hug it and dance around it so that the limbic system, okay, this is safe, I don't need to send the alarm signals. And then eventually you put it in your mouth and just stick it under your tongue and then let yourself calm, it's okay. And by putting it under the tongue, your body starts to build the digestive enzymes, and it also calms your system down and puts you back in that, baseline level. And then when you're ready, you can swallow, and you go, see, I told you, limbic system, we're safe, this food is safe. And then you just incrementally keep training until you get it up. Yeah, so basically I had to calm my system down first before I could even do any of that introducing, and then I started doing introducing the foods. And I'm not afraid to go out into the shops now. I'll go out into public, and it's like I'm getting my life back again. It's great. And I've also now got a YouTube channel, which is huge. I probably wouldn't have done that before Reorigin. So, yeah, Reorigin builds your confidence too. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So health-wise, for now that you're eating this way, what has improved for you?
Yeah, well, I just got more energy. I'm able to cope with more. I'm like before Reorigin, something suddenly changed, like circumstances change, that will just throw me out of whack, and I'll be like, ugh. But, this week things suddenly changed, but I was like staying calm. It was like, I thought of, okay, what's the solution here? And I managed to do it in a healthy way and think of a solution, and it worked out. I was able to come up with a plan B, and it was okay. Then everything's calm and relaxed. So I'm dealing with things in a much healthier manner, which is also helping my physique, to be better too. So all round, it's like, with the healing journey, it's a holistic thing. It's not just about food and exercise. It's about dealing with the mental side of it, dealing with your past. It's just so many areas to the healing and that's why I created my YouTube channel as where I can share information and help people on their healing journey.
How about the people around you, like family and friends? Do they notice a change?
Oh yeah, my husband loves it. He was just, because I tried so many other things in the past and nothing worked, so he was skeptical. But then when he saw me being able to eat all these different foods and to just go places, like even in Christmas and New Year's, we went to on camping holiday, and we went to Launceston, the Gorge, and I tackled bigger walks, and they've got that big bridge, which is over the river, and I actually conquered that. I went across it and I went back. Normally I would have avoided that, and even lookouts, I'll now go right up to the edge and go, oh, looking out. So I'm now, overcoming fears, because fears just held me back so much. And yeah, I just feel like I'm, getting my life back. I'm becoming me again, and yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah.
That's great. So what are your eating patterns day to day?
Well, my body needs 3 meals a day. If I get busy, I do eat. I will have a 2 meal a day, but I can't do that too often because otherwise my body will kick up a stink. And it's like, no, I need to keep my eating levels up. I've got to keep feeding my thyroid, my hormones, my adrenals, because, in the past I burnt those out, so I've got to keep those all right. So, yeah, I tend to have 3 meals a day, but I do have that, like I'll probably have my last meal, last food around 6:30 at night, and I don't eat until the next day, until probably about 11. So I'll have around that 16-hour intermittent fasting there, but then I'll have the 3 meals squeezed into those hours, and that seems to work well with my body. So yeah.
And you're still going through about 1.5 kilos of steak or 1.5 kilos of meat every day?
No, I don't think I have that much. Yeah, no, I don't think I have that much. No, that's settled down. I think that was more probably the first year and a half that my body was like that. But I still eat a decent amount of meat for sure. But yeah, it's just more probably better range. I don't bother tracking or working out how much I eat. I just eat until I'm full and satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to be, because
Yeah.
when you fall into the trap of worrying about numbers and stuff, it's like going backwards to when you used to calorie count and stuff.
Yeah. And I'm just not into that. It's like I just want to eat and live my life. I don't want to have to, be doing all that sort of thing. Some people like doing it. Good, that's what they want. I don't want to do that. Life's got to, you've got to enjoy life and be free.
Yeah. So has any of your family or friends expressed any interest in eating the same way as you?
Well, my children know, or actually they're adults now. They won't. They still eat their sad diet. But my husband, he's actually low carb, so we're pretty, almost pretty close on our diets now after years. So that's good, and he's doing well. He looks so much better too.
That's great. So, what kind of advice would you give someone if they were asking about how do I start this carnivore thing and how do I stick to it?
Yeah, know that it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. If you have that diet mentality, you'll restrict, you'll undereat. And I think I see a lot of people under eating that. And I think, at least for the first 6 to 12 months, eat. You've got to prime your body. You've got to eat as much meat as your body needs those first 6 to 12 months. Don't worry about 1 meal a day, 2 meal a day. Just eat. If your body wants 5 meals a day, eat 5 meals a day. If your body wants the next day 2 meals a day, eat 2 meals a day. Always listen to your body and keep adjusting it, and live according to what your body needs. Because if you listen to your body, it'll tell you what it needs. It's like we're not supposed to tell us what our body needs. It's like we've got to listen to our body. So yeah, and just enjoy it. Just savor that meat each meal and be grateful for each meal to help the digestion, and chew. Don't waff it down. You gotta savor it so that your body can digest it, and it's so much better for your health and well-being. And know that you're doing right by your body. There's lots of evidence on YouTube from doctors and so forth saying how much it's improving people's health. So yeah, just keep sticking to it and you'll reap the benefits.
And do you have any message for anyone that might be suffering from SIRS? Something that you can kind of empathize with. Do you have any advice or words for them?
Well, for me, I've not needed to do the Shoemaker protocol because mine was all limbic system. That's been causing it all, because I'm not afraid, as I said, to go to shops now, or if I see mold, I know that my immune system can handle it. So my advice is to join Reorigin, and and do the neuroplasticity, and to help. I just think if more people did that, this world would be a much better place as well, because it can help with your mental struggles too. So I highly recommend people, do the neuroplasticity. And if they want to do some more information on it, there's books like from Norman Deutsch. He's got 2 books out on neuroplasticity with amazing information. You can actually look at Reorigin's YouTube channel. There's so many places that you can look up neuroplasticity and get a bit more information on it too. But I highly recommend doing it, because it takes about 6 to 12 months to heal a limbic system impairment. And being in a community, you get the support and help from others as well, because there's been times someone's posted something in the forum and it's like, I needed to hear that. That's exactly what I needed to hear to get me over the hump. And if I had been doing that on myself, I would have missed that opportunity. So there's power in community, because it really, helps keep you accountable and helps spur you on so that you can keep moving forward and overcoming the obstacles. Because, healing's not linear. It's sort of got ebbs and flows, and it's all messy and all over the place. So yeah, you really need that support of a community when you're going through these healing journeys.
So Fiona, could you talk a little bit about your YouTube channel and what kind of things you've got going on there?
Yeah, I've got quite a bit of a variety there. I've probably got about 31 videos up at the moment, because I only started in November, and I just sort of post when I can. It's sort of my heart is to help people. I've learned a lot over the years as I've researched, and yeah, so there's a bit about how I ferment my food, short videos on how to ferment the low carb, low oxalate foods, and I use the Culture Wellness starters with that. I've also share a bit of new plasticity. I also got my Bruny Island camping trip that I did on the weekend. I've posted that. We'll talk about reframing and and asking ourselves, is what we're thinking or doing helpful, or is it causing stress on our body? And in my playlist, I'll actually save different information videos from medical professionals on different subjects, from thyroid to carnivore to cholesterol. And so if people scan down my playlist, they'll see a lot of information that they can get from different information from medical professionals. So I sort of wanted my YouTube channel to be a one-stop shop where people can actually look and get the advice that they need for whatever they're looking at. So it's going to still take time to keep building up, but more and more playlists I will add, and as I get more information. So yeah, so if people want as much information as they want, they can check out my channel and subscribe if they want.
Fiona, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dave.